are now over halfway through the NASCAR Cup Series regular season, and we have officially got some big names right on that cusp of potentially missing the playoffs. So, in this video, we're going to do a deep dive into the NASCAR playoff grid and see who we think is going to make it and who we don't, and who we think is going to miss out. So, join us on this episode of Running with a Pack. As I said, we didn't just get done watching a cup race. After the Coca Center, I said midweek. It's a little bit later in the week now. I was hoping to get this video done, but yes, in this video we are going to be going through and breaking down the playoff cut line battle, and honestly, just the points thus far this season. But obviously, until the playoffs start, for the most part, it really just comes down to make the playoffs, step one. Step two, figure out what to do once you're in the playoffs. So, let's dig right into these point standings. So, I'll probably put them up on the screen somewhere for you guys, at least so that you guys can kind of follow along. And these are just based on regular season points. These aren't like filtered due to wins and stuff, but the top three drivers all have wins. You've got Elliott, Chastain, Kyle Busch. Nobody really, I think, was surprised to see those names up there. Blaney and Truex not having wins yet this year is a little surprising. I know Blaney did win the All-Star race, and I don't think either one of them's really in danger of missing the playoffs at 94 and 88 above the cut line. They're both inside the top 5 on points, so without a tremendous amount of really surprise winners, 94 points above is probably safe. Then you go back to more winners. Logano, Byron, Bowman, Larson have all won. Bell still tracking inside the top 10 in points despite not winning so far this year, at least. And then from there on, it's actually probably better to look at it filtered with the playoffs, because this is where the lots of winners do come into play, because you had Briscoe in 13th, Hamlin in 17th, Cindric in 19th, and Kurt Busch down in 20th. On the long list of drivers who are in the playoffs because of wins, but are further down in points, making that cut line battle a lot higher up than it normally would be. So, now I'm gonna go and filter the list over here on the other side to go and show you the playoff cut line battle. So we're gonna be showing you basically the last 3 in and then the first few out. So first off, just looking at it, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have 5 open spots currently in the playoffs for the entire rest of the season, which includes any new winners we may get. So if we get 5 new winners, the playoff grid ends up being totally filled out by winners, which we have not seen yet. I think the closest we came was in 2017. I believe we had 3 drivers make it in on points, so we're definitely tracking towards that kind of number, because but yeah, so you have Christopher Bell. He's 50. He ends up being 58 points above the cut line. Again, without some surprise winners, he's probably pretty safe. But it's those next 2 down there that I would say are really kind of at risk because of the chance of new winners. Now, Reddick, I think if we get a surprise winner, Reddick is on my list of people I would expect to get that surprise win. So Reddick probably not as worried as Harvick probably should be, because Harvick is having a really consistent season, up there right around 10th, 11th place in points. but Harvick is not having the kind of season that one would really expect of a NASCAR Cup champion, a guy who won, what was it, 9 races in 2020. So the last time that he did win a race, he did go winless last year, which probably speaks to it. But looking at opportunities below the cut line for winners, you got Suarez, who's had some fairly good road course success. We saw him lead the first 15 laps of Circuit of the Americas without an issue. So if he has a clean race at, say, Sonoma in 2 weeks, or later on in a month or so at Road America, you could very easily see, someone like him getting a spot via a win, despite being 49 points out. And I wouldn't rule it out that he could point his way back in, but again, with surprise winners like Reddick potentially moving that cut line even higher. So let's just theoretical here. Let's say Reddick locks himself in with a win and Suarez finds his first win. That moves the cut line battle up to that third driver. And Christopher Bell ends up becoming the first driver out at 58 above, tentatively. Of course, there's still a number of races to go, and Christopher Bell can't have a complete collapse of his team yet. Like, they can't be like, like some of the other teams where it's like, oh yeah, we've won a race, we can just kind of go full Hail Mary mode, like, example, Briscoe, who really has not had the best of seasons outside of his win, because he's been just going for it with, like, what we saw at the Bristol Dirt finish, and then you had the finish this most recent week with the Coke 600 with Larson, where he ended up tearing his car up trying to take that win. But yeah, really, besides that, I don't really see an avenue for many other surprise winners that aren't in that top 16. I think Truex and Blaney will probably find wins before the playoffs. Now, of course, we got 2 plate races left, Atlanta and Daytona. So I definitely wouldn't rule out 1 or 2 surprise winners coming from that, which would put some pressure on guys like Blaney or Truex to perform. But for me, at least, it's pretty hard to imagine seeing a completely filled out grid, at least tentatively right now, because there's no guarantee Suarez does win. But I would like to give a shout out to a couple of the other drivers on the list here as we're getting ready for the Gateway Cup race. Austin Dillon having a very consistent season despite not really showing much in terms of, like, the running up front. He does actually have a better average finish though than Reddick, his teammate. Only 22 points outside the cut line, so if there aren't new winners, we could see him point his way in. Eric Almirola had an incredible start to his 2022 season, which is also his farewell tour. We know, and he announced it before the start of the season, that 2022 would be Almirola's last full-time NASCAR Cup season. So Almirola maybe making the playoffs in his final season would be really cool to see. Again, he's on the outside looking in, but he's close enough. I mean, only -8. He can point his way in pretty easily, I would say. Again, barring the idea that we could get new winners that move that cut line up and down. Eric Jones at 43 have had a great start to the season. And they've been much more competitive than they have been. And I would say they are probably going to be a playoff contender within the next 2 years. So within 2023, 2024, they're probably going to be a decent playoff contender. So I guess we will see. I already kind of mentioned Suarez with the strong run at Circuit of the Americas, but Suarez is having a pretty good season. Obviously, been heavily outshadowed by his teammate, who's won 2 races already this year. But yeah, Suarez has been doing quite a bit of good in terms of his driving this year. Chris Buescher, he's gonna miss this weekend's Gateway Cup race, so he is gonna drop, and again, he's pretty much a must-win to make the playoffs. But Chris Buescher's been putting up really solid numbers, consistently outrunning his championship winning and new team owner, Brad Keselowski. Now, some of that might be due to the penalty putting Brad Keselowski into must-win mode after about race 6 or 7. But yeah, so Buescher, of course, he had that massive airborne crash at Charlotte last week. But yeah, gonna be a bummer to see him miss out on the Gateway Cup race, but he's had a really good season to this point. Michael McDowell with who's now a contender for the top 20 spot in points, which is just crazy to like go back and look at this season and think that a front row motorsports car, because front row motorsports back in like 2019, I think it was 2019 was when they had 2019 was when they had 3 cars, and all 3 cars were by the end of the season, and even throughout most of it, were down in like 27th, 28th, and like 25th, 27th, and 28th in points or something like that. And that's just ridiculous. I mean, like, from how far down they were to having a car fighting for the top 20 legitimately on points. And then, of course, obviously, the Daytona 500 last year. Now, you can imagine that brought in some extra money and some extra sponsorship to the team, helping them rack up that extra profit, put that back into the race team. So you could say that that's probably cause for it, but gotta acknowledge the driver too, Michael McDowell. I know I'm massively biased source, but Michael McDowell has been doing fantastic this year in the NASCAR Cup Series. Just on a consistency basis, not just on he's had a shot to win. He's also got like 4 top 10s in the last 5 starts, only missing out at Gateway, not Gateway, but at Dover. He had top 10 at Dega, he had a top 10 at Kansas, top 10 at Darlington, top 10 at Charlotte this past week. I mean, he is top 10ing his way there. And similarly, the guy that's on a hot streak after Talladega, where you normally expect to be his only hot streak, would be Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in 24th place on points. Again, 83 points out, and with the potential of new winners, he's probably going to have to win a race to make the playoffs. But with the speed he's showing, I wouldn't say he's restricted to only the restrictor plate tracks for a race win this year. I mean, he showed that I thought for a minute he could maybe he would walk away with the Coke 600, or even Kansas a couple weeks ago. He was still right there. Obviously, the Toyotas kind of had the stranglehold on most of the top 10. Darlington, he had a decent top 10 run going. Factor in the fact that there are plate tracks still to go, he very easily could get a win and make the playoffs. And regardless, he's having a great bounce back season from what he was having if we'd looked at these points back at Talladega. Couple other notables. Justin Haley's been doing great. Probably would be much better if his crew chief would stop getting suspended for the wheels coming off the car. They've had the wheel come off the car at 2 different points in this season. So Trent Owens, the crew chief, has been suspended twice for 4 weeks. So certainly he has not had the best of seasons. So yeah, I think that's most of the notable drivers I wanted to give a shout out to in terms of how they've been running. But yeah, so looking at the playoff grid realistically, um, I see I see Reddick and Suarez being the only outside the playoff drivers to win. I see probably Truex and Blaney getting wins, and I think Harvick maybe the first guy outside the playoffs when September rolls around and we roll into the Darlington Raceway with Harvick not being in the fight for the playoffs. I also think Amarola will miss, even though I know he's been doing great and it's his final year. I think he will also miss. So yeah, that's pretty much how I see it going. Is I think if we're gonna see surprise winners, those would be the two. And the big question mark is: does Suarez win or does Harvick's consistency get him there? Those are basically my two big things because I don't see a way that Reddick goes this entire regular season without a win. But yeah, so let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Let me know what your guys' playoff grids look like going in here. I did write down some preseason playoff predictions for myself, but I didn't actually make a video at the time. I don't believe. Double check, but I don't think I made a playoff prediction video. But yeah, for the most part, when it comes to the just making the playoffs, you have your usual 10 to 12 suspects, and then it kind of comes down to who wins races. Like we weren't sure that Briscoe was going to win a race, but he was on my list for his consistency and the fact that I felt like he had a win coming. Reddick, is another one of those that you didn't necessarily pencil in, but he's been running fairly well and could pop off a win. So yeah, once again, just let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Who you guys think maybe some surprise winners that I didn't mention. Maybe you think Cole Custer is gonna find a way to win. Maybe you guys think Harrison Burton or Todd Gilliland's gonna pop in. Maybe you guys think Brad Keselowski at Daytona is gonna go and demo derby his way to the win. Maybe you think somebody else, Ty Dillon, maybe you think is gonna find a way to win one of these races. So yeah, again, a lot of drivers in the NASCAR Cup Series, and only 16 of them get to make the playoffs. So, again, let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. But I will see you guys after the Gateway Cup race. And besides that, I think that's everything. So, hopefully, you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next video, live stream, or whatever you guys had to do with the rest of your day. Have a great day, everybody, and goodbye.